Welcome to the Committee on Public Finance. Some of you all are regulars. Some are coming for the first time. Mr. Amarasekara. Yes. So for purposes of record keeping, could you please identify yourself, starting with Mrs. Pereira?
Tanuja Pereira, Tax Policy Advisor, Fiscal Policy Department.
Kapila Senanayake, Director General, Department of Fiscal Policy.
Harsha de Silva, Chairman, Port City Economic Commission.
Revan Vikramasuriya, Director General, Colombo Port City Economic Commission.
Sarangan, Director General, Corporate Affairs, Ministry of Finance.
Ministry of
Finance.
Taraka Jayasundara, Assistant Director, Department of Fiscal Policy.
Radhika Vesekara, Director Commercial, Colombo Port City Economic Commission.
Ray Abeyawardena, Member, Port City Economic Commission.
Welcome, Ray, for the first time. You are here, no?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I must tell you a story about Ray.
Sir, later, sir.
Amal Cabral, Member, Commission Member, Colombo Port City Economic Commission.
Welcome, Mr. Cabral, for the first time to
Thank
our
you, sir.
committee. Yeah.
Sureka Ahmed, SSC from the Attorney General's Department.
Shahalika Roshini, Director, Fiscal Policy Department.
Parmi Kodipili, Assistant Director, Fiscal Policy Department.
Right. We have three matters to take up, but on the request of the Chairman of the Port City Commission, we'll take that one first so they can leave. Port City. That's English. All right. Who is presenting this? What are you here for? Who is this? Is the Ministry of Finance. So let the Ministry of Finance present.
Regulation 71.
Chairman, DST has asked me as the Director General to present.
Please go ahead.
With your permission, sir. So this regulation has come about on the back of a regulation that was passed in August 2023 called the Business of Strategic Importance Regulation that had a sunset clause of 2 years, which expired in August 2025. And that was the initial regulation that was drafted and approved by Parliament and approved by this committee and Parliament that regulated or directed the fiscal incentives that were to be granted to businesses designated as businesses of strategic importance under the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act. With the expiry of that regulation, the Minister in September this year passed the current regulation we are now has tabled before your committee. This regulation changes the incentives for primary and secondary businesses of strategic importance in two manners.
Well, I mean, I see a presentation here.
Yes.
So if you rather make the presentation, PowerPoint slides, if you want to do that, you are free to go ahead.
I can speak to it as well because I can't quite see what's on the screen.
No, you can. There's a screen here.
Making amendment. So if we go to the first section, the presentation starts off by showing and speaking to the economic value addition that would be created subject to the Colombo Port City Economic Commission meeting its stated objectives and creating the development work that as envisaged under the master plan. So the first page talks of attracting possibly $14 billion of FDI, and that is expected to transform to about $13 billion in recurring economic value addition to GDP as it transfers from the what we call the construction phase to the operational phase. We are still in the construction phase. If we move on to the next slide.
No, before we move on
Sorry.
to the next slide, Mr. Vikramasuriya, so this is a big number, $14 billion
In FDI.
in FDI. I mean, we are not even hitting 1 billion. So by when do you think this 14 billion will come, and how much has come already? What is the plan?
So the $14 billion is expected via primarily leases of land. There are 74 marketable land plots, and the expectation is once those land plots are leased and the development work takes place, the development work is expected to be approximately 6.3 million square meters of floor area being built across the 74 plots. That FDI number is expected to materialize.
This 14 billion?
Correct.
By when?
As of just last week, or Friday, this commission executed the first land lease since the last round of land leases were executed in 2021, December 2021.
Good job.
Thank you. So this was the first piece of land that
was concluded?
a lease of a residential parcel adjacent to the marina, overlooking the marina, a residential parcel.
Who is the potential investor?
International Construction Company,
ICC.
ICC, signed the land lease, and they're looking at attracting foreign investment to do the development work. As this committee understands, the last 3 years since the passing of the act, or even passing of the regulations in 2023, due to the prevailing economic situation in the country, foreign investors were sort of on the watch and waiting to see what takes place. What we have seen now in the last, and since this commission taking over in January effectively, or December, towards the tail end of December last year, we are beginning to see a number of investors re-engaging with the commission to understand the developments that are taking place and to see how they can once again restart, I would say, to a certain extent, the projects that they had put on ice.
I understand that, Vikramasuriya. If you give us like a short to medium to long term sort of plan, this 14 billion, in the short term, how much, let's say we are by 2030, what are you expecting, 35 or I don't know.
So I think what we are doing now is we've got
the reason for us to ask this question is because we have, and also think about, I will ask this question when we come to the revision, how that's going to change, what your original investment expectations would change with the revision of the law. So that is what we want to really understand as this committee. So we would like to know what your original estimate was to bring in this $14 billion, by how much, by when, and the total by when.
So the original estimate was to see approximately 10 to 12 land parcels start construction or start development work on, and clearly that didn't materialize. The expectation now, right, is to see by Q1 next year for at least 2 to 4 land parcels for construction to start.
Yeah, Mr. Vikramasuriya, I'm just trying to, I'm not trying to engage in a debate here. All what I want to know is, okay, let me put it this way, how much has already come, and can you give us a rough estimate, rough breakdown of when you expect this 14 billion to come? That's a simple question.
We haven't actually broken it down into time slots, and the reason being is the last time we had it broken down, due to the economic challenges, it didn't materialize. The 14 billion is when 74 land parcels are developed. So what we are looking to see now is to see how we can start development work on at least 4 land parcels going into the first quarter of next year.
I mean, you're talking about
I was coming there. So the land parcels, you're looking at the marina development work to take place, right? The residential parcel, a mixed development parcel, and another hotel parcel. Those 4 parcels, we are expecting to see approximately $1 billion to, I would say, $1.2 billion in the development work. So I would say we've sort of taking smaller steps and trying to see how we can get those 4 going. And then one would actually be able to sort of strategize and start forecasting where the development work is expected to go through.
Chairman, can I ask this from the chairman? Yes, there are 7 ways that you are looking at selling Port City. On that particular basis, what is the low-hanging fruits that you see as to you can get this into quick investment?
Two things, sir. Firstly, we must create an ecosystem to make it necessary for developers to come here and actually put up the commercial buildings. So secondary BSIs is an absolute necessity. And that is the reason why under the second revision of the tax incentives, there is a corporate tax.
Specific acceptance of that investor.
Yes, so there must be other secondary businesses who are going to create desks and a demand for commercial space. So for that reason, when this revision was coming about, we managed to convince with the Ministry of Finance for a 7.5% corporate threshold of tax.
Yeah, if we, honorable member, because that's coming down the road, the slide is there, the entire thing is explained. So if we can just, go through the presentation.
Yeah, so that is also part of the presentation.
Yeah.
So the low-hanging fruit, as the DG was saying, Chairman, is the fact that there are 4 projects that have been approved. Our focal point is to get those projects moving, and there are 3 others that have expressed interest. And I believe now that with the promulgation of these regulations, then we will see renewed interest in the land parcels also for both commercial as well as leisure. It's not going to be easy, but we see a distinct uptake in the level of interest that has been shown.
And the Court of Appeal, that labor thing equates inside and outside being one of the same?
Not necessarily so. The Court of...
Honorable, shall we just go through the presentation?
Yes, can you just answer that?
Yeah, no. The Court of Appeal thing was on the premise that you couldn't exempt the Act as a whole, that you had to bring in certain provisions of the Act and specify the sections of the Act. So I don't think it will have any repercussions on the overall objective of the Port City Economic Commission.
Thanks. Shall I, in order to proceed, I'm going to request you, Mr. Vikramasuriya, to sort of give us some timelines. Because when you say 14 billion, if it is coming in 5 years, that's one thing. If it's coming in like 40 years, it's something else. And also, when you say it's going to have a recurring economic value of 14 billion, $13 billion, when can we start calculating that? For instance, how much did Port City add to GDP since it started sort of the reclamation in total? Do you know? And
yes.
do you have a sort of a year-wise breakdown?
No. So to address that, your latter point, the investment in the Port City by the project company to date is approximately $1.4 billion, and that I think goes back to 2015, if I'm not mistaken, and it's come over the years. The estimated number contribution to GDP on the back of that during the land reclamation work, the use of construction equipment, people, etc., the purchasing of rock, sand, etc., is estimated to about $3 to $5 billion over the period of since 2015 to date. Again, we don't have year-by-year breakups, but that's an estimate that that has been shared on that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a complexity with the Department of Statistics in calculating that. And if you recall, Mr. Senaviratna, if you recall, they redid the numbers and changed the GDP figures. I think for 2016, 17, 18, and 19. So why don't you, Tilina, why don't you speak with the statistics department also, because it's good for us to know, not just good to know, but we need to know. What is the progress, how much are we adding, so that we can estimate what revenue the state can accrue from this operation. So for that, I would urge that even you all, for your own planning, it would be wise to have an annual plan, or at least a midterm plan, because to say 14 and a chunk is, I find it a little bit difficult to digest. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, the slides are up, which we were speaking to. So this is a slide we just spoke to. If we move to the next slide, this breaks up the contribution during the construction stage and what we call the operational stage. Again, the operational stage is when all land parcels have been developed. And that's where, as the chairman mentioned, the $13 billion annual contribution to GDP kicks in. This breaks up where the contribution will come in from: material, labor, local contractors, etc., etc.
I mean, that is almost, 13% of our GDP is one project. I mean, our GDP is $100 billion.
100.
So, I mean, even this, what I'm saying is, all of this contextualized in some time frame, that would be easier for everyone to understand. And also to monitor, to evaluate, what the progress is.
I think that's duly noted, Chairman, and I hear your point there. So we will start breaking up timelines, and I've noted your comment on engaging with the Department of Statistics. That's something that we haven't
because
done
they
in the
did a
past.
lot of work trying to break this up.
Thank you. I've noted that point. Thank you very much, Chairman. This talks about the employment generation, again during the construction period, right? Again, once all the development plots, that's why there's such a large number. But again, that will take place over time during the construction work happening. This speaks to the employment once operational, right? With 51% of the total built-up area being residential, 25% being retail, and 25% being commercial. Total built-up area is 6.3 million square meters. This speaks to approximately 140,000 jobs being created, and we sort of break it across skilled and semi-skilled employees.
You see,
When you say 140,000 jobs, over what span?
Again, when the development, sorry.
It's the moot question that you're asking. That's the same question that the chairman also asked.
So the 1, 2, 3, 5
Yes,
years.
so I think the DG will come and say what is the job creation thus far with the secondary BSIs that we have created. That's in the following slide. As of today, I think he will advert to it. We have created roughly 2,500 local jobs, and with 660 expatriates also working here. So that will be adverted to by the DG.
This talks about the revenue to government that is expected. Again, I'm caveating it that once it is all built up, all land parcels are sold, you're expecting approximately $1.7 billion of income to the government on the construction stage, and that is across land leases and turnover taxes, etc., that will come through when land parcels are transacted, and the revenue on the land lease itself. Then again, we go on to the income to the government at the operational phase, right? Again, once fully operationalized, and it speaks to approximately $700 million per year. We move on to, at the next stage, this is talking about the two regulations. The regulation that,
Revenue for the last year earned by Sri Lanka from the existing operations. If you just go to that one slide before you go to the revenue breakdown, that is this one.
I can't see so far, sorry. Okay, this speaks to the number of APs I was coming, yes.
We
So
would like to have a copy of that too, because it's not in our.
this came, sorry, Chairman, this came in on the back of the request that came last night. There were some questions that were shared to us last night.
Yeah, after you send the presentation, I wanted more details,
This
but
came
we
Yes.
haven't got it.
That came in this morning. So we got a request last night at about 6:30 or 7
You sent the presentation around 6 o'clock?
No, sir.
Whatever time, it came in
Present-
the night.
No,
We
sir.
looked at,
Sorry.
we looked at it and we said there isn't enough information. And we asked you to provide more information, so we haven't, I unfortunately don't have a copy, none of us have copies. Not in the presentation. Where did you send it, Mr. Vikram Sir? This
The
one,
Commission received a letter last night,
correct,
and we responded to that by 11 o'clock this afternoon.
that's fine. So, the members, do they have copies? Have you uploaded on the link?
So this is the point the chairman was speaking to.
Yeah.
And our,
Yes.
so as of the end of December, so we have a reporting cycle for all APs that run on a calendar year basis.
Yes, go ahead.
And as of end of December, Q1 this year, we had 83 APs that were registered, and they had invested $18 million. That does not, so that exclude, there were no what we call primary developers, so there were no land leases and developments. These were secondary businesses.
Authorized persons. Authorized person.
And what is BSI is?
Business of strategic importance.
You see, DG, you know, this is basic information, no? I mean, I would assume this, what you sent us this morning, at least this should have been shared with the committee. You know, what has happened thus far. You know, you give us a picture of what will happen and all that, but we had no idea. That's why we wrote to you last night and requested some information as to where we are. Right, so as soon as we get a copy of the, get copies for the members. Please go ahead.
Duly noted. So, based on the 83 authorized persons who were licensed as of January this year, they had leased 46,000 square meters of building space. And to put that into perspective, the World Trade Center tower, one of the towers is approximately 50,000 square meters. So they'd actually taken space equal to almost one tower. And as the chairman alluded to, there were approximately 3,000 employees that were hired by these 83 companies, 2,400 being local and approximately 620 being foreign. These employees were paid approximately $10 million in salaries, and these businesses generated approximately $260 million of revenue, and the operating profit they had reported was $15 million. So that was across 80...
Mr. Vikramasuri, we don't have that. You sent another one. How many did you send?
There were...
You sent two. So you sent us 2 documents this morning.
No, sir, one document. One set of documents on one email, addressing the points you had raised in your letter that was shared to us last evening.
Okay, right, fine. It's been shared and...
Apologies for that.
That's okay. It's in the, they have shared it in the folder. Go ahead. Do you have slides? Did you make slides? No?
No, I have it on my computer. Yeah, sorry.
All right, okay.
January,
Yeah, not an issue. I think if we can keep the slides away, for our knowledge, that there's much more information.
so
that is there.
as of
Chairman, if I may ask a question from this point, the total investment is 100% FDI, 1.4 billion invested, 50-50, and now we are going to market that into translating that into investments. Correct, Mr. Chairman?
No. Of the primary BSIs, my understanding is some of the investment in the land has been local, but there has to be a component.
The entire project.
Yes, yes, the entire project has been 1.4, no government money, nothing. It's
now,
entire.
The 50% that you all own, you all are basically marketing it to ensure
We can only market it in 2027 in terms of the tripartite agreement. The first right of marketing is given to the Czech port city. And thereafter, there is a proportion to which it is broken down as to what we can market at that stage. So at this point of time, the marketing efforts in respect of the main land parcels is led by Czech port city. We facilitate that process in marketing as well as with the fiscal incentives and the making business easy.
So today you as the chairman and a commission, if somebody wants to come and say they want to start banks, if they want to start financial centers, where are you precluded from doing so, or how can you motivate
No, in
them
fact,
to
we
start?
engage with them. And in Czech Port City also brings those investors to the commission. And we engage jointly with them in the promotion of the port city.
I'm informed that there are 3 banking licenses asked, and the central bank has not given the approval.
I think there are 6 banks that have asked for it, but I think the central bank wanted certain amendments done to the act.
They want the BSI, and then from
Yes,
there on.
that's right. So those amendments to the act are ongoing, even as we speak.
Mr. Chairman, I am of the opinion that we must market Port City to the maximum. Could you tell us at what point does a Sri Lankan company outside and inside enjoy these privileges? Because the secretary next to you would love to see an investment coming to Port City, but he gets the revenue as well. But I'm informed that you all don't need to pay PALs, the CSLs, all of them. You don't need to pay the incursion of the construction, while a local company would have to. Where does this, what investment guarantee requires you to accept that?
Before you answer that question, Mr. Chairman, may I once again request the committee that we go through the presentation.
The presentation lacks
No, presentation lacks many things. I agree. But no, let us first get to the regulations that we are here to approve, and then get to a discussion, please. Right, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman and Honourable Member. I think the question that the Honourable Member just spoke to speaks of the incentives, and this is the slide that I have currently up. Speaking of the business's strategic importance regulations that were gazetted on the 20th of September, that lists the incentives, the fiscal incentives that are to be granted to businesses that will be designated. So you have what is called the investment criteria, the first column, and what was done in 2023 is the second column, and the third column is the new regulation. So if I can speak to the new regulation, it broke up the investment criteria across 4 slabs to grant incentives, and those slabs started at, I would say, item D, which was 25 million to 100 million, then $100 million to 500, 500 to 1 billion, and 1 billion and above. This is what was actually set in terms of investment criteria to decide what type of fiscal or how much of fiscal incentives would be granted. Across the next row on this table speaks to the fiscal incentives that would be granted and the tenor. The fiscal incentives granted for a business investing up to 25 to 100 million was capped at 10 years, and he would be liable to tax at 0%. So it's a total exemption on corporate income tax. 100 to 500 million, they're entitled to a 12-year tax holiday, and $1 billion and above, they are entitled to a 15-year tax holiday. Then also there is the last slab, which is 25 to 100 million, you are entitled to an 8-year tax holiday. During this period, as the member mentioned a little while ago, they set what's called the project implementation period, and it is during that project implementation the importation of material or project related material would be exempted from the para tariffs and tariffs that are charged via customs and PAL. Those are the exemptions that would come in. Clearly defined timelines, as in that table there. The timelines are set based on the investment criteria or the investment amount. The larger the investment, as expected, the duration for the fiscal incentive is greater.
This particular one, profit starts from, taxation starts from year of operation or year of construction?
Year of operation. So you set the project implementation period, but the project implementation period is also capped as per the gazette. So it's not open-ended. They've said your project implementation period, if you're doing $100 million project, it's 5 years. So you can't even go beyond
from
that.
the start of operation.
You're correct.
And when you're given to start operation, how quickly will allows you to make that operate? Because can you start something or operate in 10 years?
No.
No, you have to. So your time is specified.
Correct.
Time is limited.
Time is limited. So as soon as you give approval, within X amount of years, you're going to
That's
start. So operational, if you give approval, how long do you give them to start?
The land,
Say
so
5 years, if you're
now
given.
the
The ICC, how long have you given them?
they have to, the lease agreement is structured that where they have to start project development work within 3 years.
Start, no?
Yes.
Completion date. You can start the first.
Completion is 8.
So 8 from the day you start.
Yeah, that is
8 from the date that
Lease
the
time.
approval is given. But start date must be 3 years. But they are going to break ground in January.
Yeah,
But that's a separate matter.
So that January, if you say 26, must be operational in 2034.
They must complete within 8 years. Yes,
Maximum in 2030. If it doesn't, what happens?
Then we have the right to terminate the agreement and it reverts back to the commission.
And it comes back to the city
government,
commission.
commission. Sorry. So this slide pretty much captures the fiscal incentives that are to be granted for primary businesses of strategic importance. And primary business of strategic importance is an investor who leases a plot of land and invests the stated amounts to carry out the development activity.
Now, okay. So now, in the previous case, there are two things, or, right? 25 years plus 10 years, or 300% enhanced capital allowance. Now, that is no longer applicable now?
That option is no longer available in the new regulation.
Now, why is that, Finance Ministry? I mean, this isn't the 300, the enhanced capital allowance much more transparent, meaningful incentive?
So, Honorable Chairman, so this is under the discussion with the IMF. So they have done a technical assistant report. So based on that, say they actually argue that it's better to give cost-based incentive rather than profit-based incentive. But when we are doing this thing, so we also come, difficulties in providing cost-based incentive at first. So that's why we have shifted this profit-based incentive. So then we are no longer giving enhanced capital allowance as earlier we did.
But you give it company by company, now you withdraw. Qualified payments is a better way because you have to expend to get it back now. So are you saying now you stop that?
It's an option, no? Right. Either
Even
they can
here
go
the
for the...
option exists.
No, now the
Around
option
they don't
doesn't
have the
exist, that's the point.
But you are still sitting here, you said 300 per day enhanced capital.
No, that was 23. That is terminated. My point is, why do you terminate that?
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
a
I mean,
sounder basis.
Yeah, this is a sound basis now.
You have to spend to get it back.
If you don't spend, you don't get it. I mean, the whole idea.
Oh, you're comparing 23
Yeah,
and 25.
yeah. I mean, the whole idea, I recall during late Honorable Samravira's time, IMF, I think, alluded to the fact that this is a better thing than that. And now you're going back. I mean, did you not defend this position? with the IMF?
No, 15 to 18 there was no IMF countries. Only after the bankruptcy that this came about.
No,
so
no.
You're going back to...
That provision under the normal law.
Yes.
But for the port city concessions, that enhanced capital allowance is not there. Only one regime is there.
So
there are
if
no
it on,
options.
say in the mainland you have that.
Yeah, yeah.
Port city you don't have it.
We don't have, because for others other than port city businesses, no incentive by way of profit based incentives.
Yeah,
Only the-
but Mrs. Pereira, I mean, we are going to now change the SDP Act also, no? It's coming next week. So the SDP Act and the Port City Act can't be, they can't conflict.
No, under the SDP regime also the same similar framework is there.
Precisely. So
Yeah.
what the IMF agreement is to have one set of criteria, right? So if you have 10 years for this much, 5 years for that much, that would be the same with SDP also, pretty much.
Yeah, to certain extent.
Yeah. Then how is it that the mainland investor will have an option either to go for A or for B? Because you said for the mainland,
No
you
option
will
is
have the capital allowance option.
Enhanced capital allowance option only.
But investors coming into the port city won't have that option.
No, they don't have.
So why the difference?
I think the preferred one is the tax holiday, straightforward tax
But there's
exemption
an
rather
option,
than.
no? There's an option.
No,
What-
previously we had that option, whether to go for the enhanced capital allowance or this
My
thing.
point is, now you are going to streamline the incentive structure. We are looking at it from the public finance perspective, right? You are trying to give incentives, okay? And the agreement is those incentives must be pretty similar, whether it is on Port City or on the mainland. Now, what is happening is that if an investor comes to Rajagiriya, he'll have an option. But if he goes to Port City, he won't have an option.
No, even Rajagiri, they don't have an option. They have only the enhanced capital allowance.
They
no
don't
other.
have the
Tax holidays, no.
tax holidays they won't get.
No. Because what we would prefer is to have the kind of enhanced capital allowance because it's cost based and it is what is recommended.
So then why are you not doing it then?
When it comes to the tax holiday, it's very straightforward and it's, I mean, like, I don't know whether how many have gone for that.
So then why
option.
don't you do the same thing on the mainland as well?
No, actually, we have taken all sort of tax holidays from 2018 onwards. So only this SDP and the Port City remain to continue with the tax holiday type incentives. But
So we will discuss it with the SDP then. That is coming next week, no? Right. Now the question is, what difference does this make to your original projection? I told you I'll ask this question. But that's the real issue. We are changing the law. Earlier these guys got, is there something else that you need to explain on this, or this is all?
Secondary, I think that's the other one. Yeah, so
So where
Chairman,
is that?
that's on the next page.
Okay, let's
right?
finish that also.
I think, yeah, so I think that's even more straightforward. In the regulation that expired, secondary businesses had a 25-year corporate tax exemption, right? The new regulation that has come about or promulgated gives a 4-year tax incentive, and the tax rate is not 0 but 7.5% for 4 years, whereas previously it was 0% for 25 years. So I think that's about it. So the regulation is as is in the current structure. So that's the only other point.
How does the secondary PSI get accepted in the Port City? Secondary would mean that you are basically going through a building that is built there, right?
Yeah, so they are going to operate within the Port City, and they'll go into occupation of a building that has been put up by one of the primary developers.
And for business outside the...
Outside of Sri Lanka.
Outside of Sri Lanka.
Yeah, they cannot transact business with the mainland, with any part of Sri Lanka. All business must be completely offshore.
So, if you may give an example, Harsha, what do you mean by when you say that? So if you are looking at financial terms, financial transaction, it has to be offshore.
Yes. So if there is a fund management company, it would be a company that is set up here managing funds of clients offshore.
Yes.
Nothing to do with Sri Lanka. They are not servicing any Sri Lankan client. It has to be completely servicing.
Just one moment, please. Before we get to the details, because you have multiple questions.
Yes.
The question that we are asking is, once again, what is the impact of the change in the law on the expected investment of Port City? That's a specific question.
If you are asking me, Mr. Chairman, obviously there would have been a higher potential of attracting investment under the old regime. A 25 plus 10-year tax holiday and a secondary BSI also being given a 25-year tax holiday is far more attractive than a secondary BSI being able, for us to be able to attract secondary BSIs to come in with a 7.5% tax threshold. So it is going to affect. There is no question about it.
We all know that.
To what degree, I am not able to tell you with any definitive this thing, but of the people who were in our funnel, of those people who had applied but not been gazetted, we reached out to them to see whether they would be prepared to go forward under the new regime. And thus far, of the 140, 84 have indicated that they wanted to continue under the new regime. We had only 6 saying that they did not want to continue, and we are yet to receive responses from 71. So to answer your question, Mr. Chairman, it would appear that notwithstanding the change of the structure as was prevailing previously, we have had only 6 rejections. 75 is yet to respond, but the fact that they have not rejected, we think is a more affirmative answer, but we will know that only within the next 2 weeks.
That's a huge revelation, no, Mr. Chairman. That means we have been so over generous, because if all these people are still willing to come, and we would have just given away 21 years of tax to the state.
Yes and no, but I think some of them have already put some plans on the ground, so to say. So that is not necessarily to say that people who might otherwise have been contemplating to come may or may not come, but to answer your question, it can cut both ways, yes.
Yeah. And if I permit me to add to that, Chairman, and I think we also need to be mindful of the fact that when the 25-year tax holiday was given, we were in an RD status, right? And a foreign investor coming in, the risk premium required is far higher. We have seen significant stability being built up over the last 12 months, and our rating has improved. So this is possibly, not possibly, I think to a great extent it is one of the factors that actually
Well, I'm not willing to accept that. Because, you see, I think that 25-year thing was there for some time, wasn't it?
For 2 years.
Before that, what was it?
There was no regulation under it.
Okay, so then therefore, there has to be some analysis behind this. Why 7.5%? Why not 5%? Why not 10%? You know, what is the analysis? Why did you agree to 4 years as opposed to 5 years? And, I mean, 4 years seems odd because 25, because the other one is 5, 10, 25. You know, that 4 sounds odd to me. You know, why is it not 5? Why is it not 10? So there had to have been some sort of analysis that you did, that you debated with the IMF to get this. So what I want to know is, when you did that analysis, you would have then done some numbers to say, if we bring it down to 0% for 4 years, then this would have been the outcome. If it was 15%, this would have been the outcome. Or did you do that, or is this just an arbitrary number, 7.5 and 4 years? Please tell me it is not.
Is that a question from us or
from the Treasury?
Treasury.
I think 7.5 was decided. Now at present, CIT on export is 15%. It's a half rate of 15%. So
arbitrary
that's-
half.
Is
corporate tax is 15%?
Exports 15%.
Services.
Yeah, services. So that's why we put 7.5%.
Is it permanent 15%?
Huh?
Is it permanently 15%? Or is it going to go up to 30% at some point?
No. It's
Permanently
now
15%.
Permanently 15%. So that's why we have reduced the half rate of.
So why
that.
half? Why can't you give the same?
So this
Because
is
this is also
actually
service exports, no?
this is actually discussion with the IMF for a long time. I think we had
IMF can say
some,
many things.
discussion.
But what I'm saying
So-
is, if your argument, doctor, is that this is service export, okay? Then you should be getting the same revenue. No? I'm just asking for the logic.
I'm more on the port city side of it. I think you need to give fiscal stimulus to get investment. My question is not that. What does Harsha, you and
Just let him
Very,
finish.
very, very hard for zero tax, at least for a period of time.
Yes.
We were not afforded that luxury by the IMF.
Mr. Chairman, we are only trying to understand the logic. Please give us the logic for 7.5 and 4 years.
Yes.
That's what we are asking. Right? Because you can't just say it's 50% of 15%. How is that a
What
logic?
we asked was for 0% for some time.
I think.
We negotiated for 0%.
You negotiated.
We had direct discussions also
Who, the
with the
Commission
IMF.
or the Treasury?
The Commission also had direct discussions.
What business does the Commission have to negotiate on fiscal
Well, the
matters?
IMF visited us, let us put it that way.
Yeah, because the Commission has no
No,
authority.
we don't. So
to
the IMF visited us.
Because
and we
once
gave
we
out-
sent back, and such changes happened in your board also, because you told us that your lawyers advised you that you can sell so many things duty free.
I didn't. I
No,
don't
no.
know,
Let me
somebody-
tell you. Let me tell you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Previous Parliament, you decided that you are going to sell like 200 items duty free. Okay? Are you aware of this?
No.
Or you're not? Let me make you aware.
Right.
And then you published a gazette saying these things are duty free. We questioned you, under what authority did you exempt this from duty? You sent us a letter of like 14 pages from your private lawyers saying you had the power to decide on fiscal matters. We disagreed. AG was on our side and you had to completely get rid of that regulation because you have no authority to discuss with outside parties or anyone on fiscal matters. You must make sure that you don't overstep your boundaries.
No, we did not. I think the IMF came to understand what was the purview within which the port city could take the project forward. And within that context, we indicated to them, in our view, what were some of the incentive structure that would be necessary for us to be able to market the port city. Because we were at that time, as the Director General alluded, we were in a situation where we were not comparable to any other entity around the region or anywhere else that were attracting investment.
That's why, Chairman, I was asking you. Now you have Dubai, you have the Middle East on one side, and you have the Asian countries. You as a chairman on one side, Arjuna, PUI on the other side. How difficult is it to sell with today's political structure, economic structure, etc.? Finally, we require investments. And I prefer getting investments rather than, trying to be stinting on one side.
So within the economic structure, it's not easy. But given the cost base that a business can operate out of Sri Lanka, we do have an advantage over the other jurisdictions. And that is what we are pressing.
Where does the cost advantage come from?
For instance, even when a foreign resident comes in here, now we have 650 people, the taking on lease an apartment is considerably cheaper here than in Singapore, Malaysia, or Dubai. So the operational cost aspect is one area.
It's the second highest in the SAARC region. So
But not in the SAARC region, but I'm talking about Singapore. Our where our competition rests. The operational cost is one area where we
So
can
labor
seek
is
to.
one attraction.
Labor and also the infrastructure costs.
Infrastructure is cheaper here.
For the foreigners who are relocating here.
I find that a little hard, Harsha, because there's a comparison. Hard construction cost, we are 65% higher than India,
Not in
China,
that way,
Thailand.
not in that way, sir. Now, for instance, if a head office were to relocate.
Okay, we'll leave that. As for your selling point, you as chairman, how is it that you're projecting Sri Lanka? That's the most important thing we'd like to see.
So we
Not
are
for-
projecting Sri Lanka as now a stable, both economically and politically, a stable place to come and
Okay,
set down your roots.
what's not bringing the investment in, if that is the case?
Well, for this entirety of this year, we have had no regulations. Even as we speak today, I have no regulations to say. The act is undergoing.
What do you mean,
because
no
the
you didn't have.
regulations have expired. We are now talking about the incentive structure yet. So even today, for the whole of this year, we've been talking in the expectation of the regulations coming into force.
So regulations expired when, Mr. Chairman?
In August.
August
of this year.
So you haven't had regulation for 3 months?
Yes. And when it was coming to a close, we were not accepting any applications in any event because we could not have won Parliament.
So now that DST you're there, with the 26th December 31st, you have IMF also moving out, then how do you help Port City and BOI to sell investments without any problems on the tax structure? Because you won't have IMF meddling around. At the end of the day, you have to have at least a good solid lot of investments come in, otherwise we're going to be stuck in the mud. Harsha, you're the one who has got to sell with your commission.
Yes, I have.
So what are you going to sell?
I have a very able team.
Yeah, but
sir,
you're not.
We will.
How the selling factor? I mean, we would love to see it.
So we need to get some projects off the ground. That's the key. We need to get several of the secondary BSIs to keep coming in, and we need the number of desks to increase. As was alluded earlier, we already have enough people working that can take in a commercial tower immediately. So with that kind of development going on, then there is a build-up of confidence and the ecosystem continues to grow. So we need to be able to approve the BSIs that are now in the funnel so that otherwise people have not seen anything happening within the commission.
Now, if a hotel comes up there, Harsha, there are 4 hotels you are looking at.
Yes.
Right, of the 4, what would be the taxes applicable for what is in Port City and what is outside?
So if they come within the concept of a primary BSI, depending on the value of their investment, they would either get 10 years.
It has to be primary, for them to
Yes,
build.
yes.
So, it is
So
primary.
it would
So
be, if they come within the 100 to 500 million dollars, they would be entitled to 10 years.
They are entitled to 10 years with no capital, with no PALs and SBS
Yes,
and
at that
all.
implementation.
So
period.
what is just 1 kilometer outside, he has to pay those 21% taxes, but what it goes in there doesn't, Mr. Sarira? Finally, because the same tourists know whether they go there or not. You're only having a tax. I'm only trying, I have no problem in what you are going to sell, but at the end of the day, what is Kingsbury outside and Port City inside, you're going to have 2 different cost structures. Where do you differentiate? I mean, 100% foreign exchange, value, minimum selling prices, how does it justify?
So the only way you can seek to justify it is, as was presented earlier, this is a special economic zone. So in order to build a special economic zone, you need all these components. And you can't take one
But
piece.
You don't need hotels to have a structure in Port City.
No,
I just
so-
took a classic
so-
example. We have good hotels outside.
No,
But
that's
if you are
correct.
100% offshore,
So
no issue.
there will be only, it's not limitless hotels that are going to come up there. There will be,
4.
if this is a predefined area, there is a master plan which was prepared long before our time. But it was so prepared on the basis that this is one whole development. So the development must be taken as a whole. And that is what is going to add to the GDP in the mainland.
So the
6.3 million.
school that is going to come in is for people to live in the school or outside also?
No, it can be accessed from people outside, but that would not be tax-free. any revenue in LKR is not tax-free.
You have LKR inside there?
It can be, but that is taxable.
You can
That
have
is
that
within the structure of
dual
the Act
status.
itself. I think the chairman knows about it.
You can have
Yeah.
a dual status.
You can have a dual status.
So banks also can be operating there and also have the same.
Yeah, but the banks will not operate there for offshore because they are obviously creating to that from their branches outside. So the banks there will be only dealing for the port city clients offshore.
Okay. Getting back to this, so what you have told us is, is that 104, we are still at the issue of, I mean, because at the end of the day, we want this to succeed, no, Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely.
Right, we want this to succeed, right?
Absolutely.
But we have a responsibility to ensure that public finances also are not just, the revenue is protected. So it is in that context I'm asking, you said 140 applied, 84 said okay, 6 said no, and 71
Are yet to
respond. Right. So these are primary and secondary, or the only secondary?
Only secondary.
Only secondary. What about primary?
So
Are there any in the pipeline for primary?
there are people who had come very close, and I think, though I'm not at liberty to, there was one who, significant investment that just have indicated to us that with the cost structure here and the present incentive scheme, it does not quite meet their ROI and return on
This is a primary BSI.
primary.
Because when you came here last time, DG, you told us that primary business of strategic importance, you had one company, Asiri Port City Hospital Private Limited, with a $110 million investment. What happened to that? Have they pulled out, or are they still? Because just one moment, because from that is what you sent last time. This time you have sent in terms of primary BSIs
7.
7, but
2 are, yeah.
that is Asiri Port City, Ceylon Real Estate Holdings, Clothespin Management, Colombo Marina, Gateway International, ICC Port City, and IFC Colombo. So you got significantly more.
But if I can comment on that, Chairman,
Yeah.
is so if you look at, and this is, so RCD Port City and Gateway International, RCD going to do the hospital, Gateway International were expected to do the university and the school. Those gazettes have actually expired. So as much as they were granted BSI status and the gazettes issued, those gazettes actually expired because land leases were not executed and the projects didn't start. The Commission is in the process of launching a new, is going to launch a new process to re-invite investors to make submissions for those developments.
You see, at DST, there have been multiple instances where I have sat as chairman of this committee and extended this the duration of gazettes. I mean, when they are, I mean, even your own gazette has been extended because it would have expired on a particular day, but because of all the things that happened which was out of your control, we extended the time period for that gazette. So I'm asking you, did you try to extend these gazettes or you just let them expire?
No, there was also another aspect to this where we sought the Honorable the Attorney General's guidance also. Both these land parcels were for infrastructure projects that belong to the government, and the original expression of interest did not clearly demarcate that the land might be given on concessionary terms. And on that premise, the decision was that there would be a new RFP call where everyone would be told that the land parcel would be available on concessionary terms.
I see.
And there, all parties would be re-invited to bid for it again.
Okay, that's reasonable explanation.
Thank you.
And then what about these other big investors, Ceylon Real Estate? What are they going to do?
Ceylon Real Estate is
$513 million.
Yes, is a commercial development which also goes as CIFC development, they call it as well. Development, it's a 250 square meter commercial mixed development project that they're looking at establishing, and that's the cost of that. So that's a very large development there. They're in the process, again, they have reinitiated the process of looking at the design of the building.
So let me ask you this question. So given that they are trying to put in $500 million into this investment, they obviously are expecting to lease those, large number of square meters they are building. So with the change in the secondary incentive being offered, are they still sort of gung-ho about the original plan, or are they making substantial problems for you?
I think Revan is better equipped to answer, but I think they are going ahead. And even though the revised structure makes it a little bit more difficult, Mr. Chairman, we will be taking every step and making every endeavor to attract as many secondary BSIs as is possible. Ideally, we would have liked a little bit more, but this is the cards that we've been dealt with, and those are the cards we will have to play with.
And if I can add to that, Chairman, when we look at the numbers, as my Chairman mentioned, with approximately looking at the number of people, number of secondary businesses that have agreed to continue, I think the investment climate seems to be conducive for these people. They've been around for a while. They've seen the ups and downs, and I think with the stability that they're seeing especially on the political front as well, the feeling we get is that they're very keen to continue, and they seem to be moving fast.
Okay. Then this clothespin management, what is that? $540 million.
That is a planned hotel development. They have paid an initial advance, a non-refundable advance for the land, for an FDI. They are in the process of finalizing the financing for that. Again, the expectation is that a lease agreement similar to what we mentioned, ICC Port City Private Limited, which is line item number 6, having signed the lease agreement last week, the expectation is Clothespin as well to sign a lease agreement possibly early January. Again, they have the same timelines that would be there for all primary developers.
So what you're generally saying is, we don't want to go into every detail, what you're generally saying is you can still manage with this rather large reduction in the incentive structure offered to the secondary BSIs.
We have to manage, and we will manage, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I know you are a very capable person, so I don't have any doubt in when you say you will, I take your word. But let's see, we will review how things move in the next, say, 6 months' time, and see, how accurate you have been, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I mean, unless others have questions, members. Okay, we always support you, we ask tough questions. But you know that we are always trying to make sure that this thing works, because we don't want an empty space there.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's going to be quite embarrassing if, we can't fill that thing. So these are approved, and we will send it to the House for passage.
Thank you very much.
Anything else that you need from us that we can help you with?
I think, Chairman, again, I don't consider the questions yourself and the committee put as tough. I consider them important questions. So thank you for that. I think
Well, at least we pushed that you be made DG. Now at least you be made DG. You were acting for a long time, weren't you?
He is now DG.
I was
Has
never
been
acting,
from the
sir. Never acting.
No, no, acting at least here.
Okay. And I think the request, as my chairman mentioned, is we need to get the regulations up and running, and then the investors are waiting to see how it comes through. And again, with the support of the Ministry of Finance, we would hope to see the businesses of strategic importance be gazetted. So always appreciated the support you all have given and the contribution.
We wish you all the best. I see, Mr. Chairman, who are the rest of your, who are the other members of your board?
Dr. Parakrama Disanayaka, Mr. Sanjay Kulatungu, who is abroad at the moment, and Dr. Harsha de.
And here we have Mr. Rea Abeyewardene and Mr. Amal Cabral. So very capable set of people you have.
Extremely. It's a very, very good
So, Honorable Karunanayake is not here, but I want to ask you one question about the gaming opportunities in Port City. There's been a lot of talk, and now we have got the regulations also going. Are there plans to attract casino?
Yes.
That is one question. The second question is on the crypto exchange. I mean, are you working on anything that's got to do with a crypto exchange or anything that is quite exciting? You know, are you working on anything?
No. Crypto exchange, we have not done anything. I think Revan has had a couple of discussions with the central bank with regard to that, but it's at a very, very early stage. With regard to the casino, there is one license which has been earmarked for a casino within the port city. It is that investment that I adverted to a little bit ago, where there was an investor who went very, very far with the due diligence, came for several visits, and has just indicated that with the kind of investment envisaged, the return did not quite match their expectations. But we are still in the phases of marketing that.
I am not aware of who it is or background, but just thinking about it, we have the casino regulation already legislated.
Yes.
That offers certain. Does it offer incentive? It doesn't offer any incentives.
No. So
there's no incentive.
we are going on the premise that the casino per se will not have any incentives.
You can't have tax-free casinos, obviously.
No.
But the building itself.
Yes. So it was to be an integrated resort.
Yeah. And they don't think that this 10-year tax holiday is sufficient.
Yes. I think we are not quite certain what particular items. It just came a little while ago, and we are in the process of re-engaging with them. It could be that they didn't quite see a lot of traction with some of the others who already engaged in it. But that is going to be one of our central investment plots, and that is one of the ones that are going to be marketed first by Czech Port City, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Because there is, I think, significant interest in the gaming regulations that we brought in this year.
That's correct.
And
they would not have come in unless the regulations and the act itself was in place.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to get the regulator in place by
That's
June.
right.
We have given them a deadline. But leave that aside. But there are going to be a whole lot of investors coming in, I think, this month or next month. I don't know if you're aware, we've been made aware, some sort of a global sort of an exhibition, trade, workshop, something like that. Perhaps that might be a good idea to market your product.
We'll do that.
Okay. One other thing I wanted to ask before you leave is, what about cannibalization?
Of local businesses?
Yes.
So one of the first things that the commission did, when this commission formed itself, is that we now have a declaration by every AP and BSI that they sign, both the applicant as well as the ultimate holding company, if it is Sri Lankan, that they will not take any part of any business hitherto carried on in Sri Lanka, either in terms of employees or businesses, into the port city. And if we find through an audit that they have done so, their license would be cancelled. Any exemptions that they have been given would be withdrawn, and profits earned would be recouped.
I mean,
So
you sound
that-
very tough, but how practical is that?
Well, that's the maximum we can do, Mr. Chairman. So we have the declaration, they sign the declaration. If we get information, we have the right to call for their books, and we will set an independent auditor to investigate that.
Let's say it's an ongoing business, right?
Yes.
Let's say software business ongoing,
yes.
and then you get another project.
Yes.
Now, where do you book that project?
So generally, particularly in software, we also have companies in Sri Lanka that have their offshore operations. So the port city is primarily aimed at relocating their offshore operations into the port city.
Okay.
We will not have a perfect answer for you, Mr. Chairman, whether one particular project that could have gone to their local one would come here. I can't give you an answer to that, but we have sought to protect it to the maximum possible extent.
Okay. Thank you very much. You are free to leave.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.